Hi everybody, we're going to talk about notes from the 7th grade Common Core Lesson 7.5 Part 2. The Part 2 is going to include scale factor. You need to be familiar with the definition of a scale factor, and a scale factor is a scale without units. A scale with units is comparing a model or a drawing to the actual and includes what units are being used. But that scale factor has no units because the units are the same and therefore they're eliminated. So in example 1, I've drawn a miniature flag that is 10 inches and then a real flag that is 100 feet tall. So if we're looking for the scale, all right, that's going to include the units. And those units would be 10 inches and 100 feet. Now, as you go ahead and you find the actual scale, those units remain there, but you can go ahead and simplify. Let's go ahead and get you a little closer. All right. So what I can do is I can simplify this ratio. 10 and 100 both divide by 10, so that's going to be 1 inch to 10 feet. So the scale of this drawing is 1 inch, 10 feet. And in order to take that scale to a scale factor, I have to eliminate the units. So when we eliminate units, we just can't get rid of them. We need to go ahead and convert both of the units. We have to convert the units to the same unit of measure. Therefore, we need to know some conversions. So I know that there are 12 inches in a foot. I can go ahead and convert 10 feet to inches, but if I go ahead and try to convert my inches to feet, I don't have enough. So if I'm looking at this, I know that 10 feet can be moved into inches. I know that 1 inch or 12 inches is a foot, so I know that every foot is 12 inches, so 10 times 12 is 120. I've just gone ahead and converted 10 feet into 120 inches. Now, if I were to look at this as an actual fraction that I'm simplifying, 1 inch divided by 120 inches, inches divided by inches is 1, so that eliminates the units. So my scale factor is 1 to 120. So let's recap what I've done. I've written the actual scale. In order to eliminate the units, I need to convert either the top or the bottom of the ratio to the other units. I'm going to go ahead and take 10 feet and make that into inches because I know that every 1 foot is 12 inches. So 10 times 12 is 120. So my actual scale factor is 1 to 120. The units are eliminated because they are the same. Let's go to example 2. I have a shirt that's 9 centimeters. So I have 9 centimeters over 1 meter. Now in this case, this is my scale. In order to simplify it from being the model or the drawing over the actual, it goes ahead and it's already in its simplest form. So what I need to do for the scale factor is I need to convert one at the top of the ratio or the bottom of the ratio to the other unit so that those units can go ahead and be simplified away. So I have 9 centimeters and 1 meter. Good. Going down to the conversions that I know that I need 100 centimeters in order to equal 1 meter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that 1 meter and I'm going to change it to centimeters. So the 9 centimeters is still 9 centimeters. But because I know that 100 centimeters is in one of them, I know that 100 centimeters is the exact same amount as 1 meter. So these are equivalent. Now I have centimeters over centimeters, which divides. Centimeters divided by centimeters is 1. And so my remaining part of my ratio is 9 to 100. And 9 to 100 is simplified. So my scale factor is 9 to 100. So there's 2 things you need to know. Scale, right, has units and is simplified, as if it's a ratio in simplest form. And then scale factor is also a ratio in simplest form, without units because I've converted either the top or the bottom of the ratio to be equivalent in units to the other part of the ratio. And so it has no units there because I've created equivalent units, like 10 feet is the same as 120 inches, and 100 centimeters is the same as 1 meter. Now, to use a scale factor, I set up a proportion. So I use the scale factor of 1 to 6. Okay. Model always being, or drawing being on the top of the proportion, or the top of the ratio, and the actual being on the bottom. So if I know that it's 12 inches, I need to find what the actual inches is, and I set up my ratio. So the first part of my ratio is the scale factor. Just like if it was giving me a scale with the actual units, I would keep the same units in the top and the bottom of my ratio based on what the scale they gave me. And in this case, it's scale factor. So I know that the units have to be the same. So if I'm using a scale factor and I'm given inches as the model, I know my actual also has to be inches. So I'm going to set up this equation to solve. I know that 1 times x is equal to 6 times 12. I know x is equal to 72. And this has to be inches because in the scale factor given, the units are the same. So it ends up being 72. Below, I've gone ahead and I've listed some common conversions that you need to be familiar with. 12 inches in a foot, 100 centimeters is in a meter, 1 centimeter is the same as 10 millimeters, 3 feet are in a yard, 1,000 meters are in 1 kilometer, 5,280 feet is in a mile. An easy way to remember that is 5280, 52 meters. And then 1,760 yards are in a mile. So please be familiar with these conversions. Within these notes, you need to know what a scale factor is. You need to know how to find a scale factor given a scale. You need to go and be able to use, find a scale given diagrams or drawings or models and make sure those scales are in simplest form. Scale factor has no units because both the parts of the ratio needs to be converted to the same units. You need to be able to use a scale factor and you need to know conversions. Now, remember, during these videos, you need to be starting and stopping to copy down because if I wrote it, you need to write it. You also need to write notes to yourself or send emails to make sure you understand this. Just writing the notes isn't enough for your homework. You need to understand what the heck I'm talking about. If you don't, and you need another explanation, and you don't want to email or you want to see if you can figure it out on your own, there's tons of YouTube videos. Go to Khan Academy. Go ahead and find a YouTube video and say, how do I find scale factor? Use some resources because when you come to class after watching these videos, I want you to have a good understanding of what I'm doing or at least have questions for what you don't understand. So please make sure you're taking the time and watching the videos the correct way. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.